Good afternoon and thank you for joining me, Glenora Shipura, on NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making waves in Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. Coming up in this broadcast, the Namibian rubbishes sexual abuse claims, gang up applauds access to information strides, villages shun police outreach. Stay tuned for these stories and more news on NMH at 1. In our midday news update, ANC struggle veteran Aziz Pahad passed away at the age of 82, surrounded by his family in Johannesburg. Pahad was Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs from 1994 to 2008. In its tribute, the ANC says it remembers Pahad as a patriot and freedom fighter who distinguished himself as a party representative in exile, particularly in London. His death comes just over 2 months after his older brother Isop was laid to rest. Aziz Pahad is survived by his wife Anjina, his brother, children, his granddaughter, and extended family members. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia. We get into this right after the break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting into our visual news, as a part of their social responsibility, Build It hosts a sports day annually to foster better development for schools. The sports day is set to take place on the 7th of October 2023 at the Vineta Sports Field. About 12 schools from the coastal towns of Swakopmund, Arandis, and Handys Bay will be participating. Festus Gontep will be the host school for this year's function. Event organizer and general manager Gerda Slabert shares more.
G'day, I'm Gerda Slabert. I'm the general manager here at Build It Swakopmund. We are hosting an annual soccer tournament. For the past couple of years, with COVID, it was difficult. We couldn't host it. We got a new owner in 2019. So therefore, in 2019, 2020, and 2021, due to COVID, we couldn't host the soccer. So we started hosting it last year again. The previous owner, we had a couple of tournaments as well. But this is getting bigger and bigger every year. We got 12 netball teams this year. Netball is new this year, and we've got 8 soccer teams. So it's a good representation of the schools in Swakopmund and also from Arandis. The netball is an exciting prospect. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, by the amount of entries for the netball. You can see that the kids are eager to play, the teachers are eager to get the kids involved in the game and just let them have fun and have a bit of organization around it. And the prizes of the day, yes, it plays a role, but I think the teachers just want to expose the kids to more sport on a regular basis. And that's why I'm so happy that Build It can do its social responsibility and host this tournament, soccer and netball this year for the first time, the netball. Build It, as you know, is part of the SPAR group, and we have an outlook of social responsibility we need to look after our town, our country, our young kids specifically. We want to work on development. We want to give back to the community for everything that they do, and they support Build It as well. So we would like to give back, and by doing that, SPA started to create this Build It, and it started with soccer first.
Ya andipo pile ngashiko komea ngatatumu o tune dia lipo pepi mono ya suta twindire ngane ngashi enjonista detu vitu kwathere vitare mono o mea ngatatu popi ngono tatumu o vitare no mesho dodi chikutheko chiringa hichiri ya mono andi onde chindire ngandi jikoskora china changa no mea unona nando bakamia karasa bafina wanamo shasho mnoni itavo kuyike ngamo mokarasa afiko mtokongo ya natoka chiringa na washa skoro chima shi achirongo pameno ujoroere ya ukuno kuyikosha ashike iko chikutu ina chikofa shono ngena ya jo patoka korutu pethimbo limo kuno njara ngashi kukutambi hatumono chikutu hatu moni kachi hatu vike chimo makange chwachi matuka notea cheyikwata kombinga njono za msati siwachi kashulira hukwa shuliro msati kombinga njono ashike mwana matangi hachi yamu katuchine kuchondarae olodhi unengo chikwa chike ya ngatu yane pungashipo puno nanga hi kucha akurupemo magumbo o akurupemo abo ngashuno na oskora oruhepo tonga ne ruri watara komesho karona kamita kaji skora moro no chikutu kakena mkuru kenashite kape kuzako kulia kenashite kape o chikutu neno kana itakavuro kuja mokarasa no ruturoara ya atwindire ngane ka nandoka kakaga njichari yakali ngata asiro chimuyu yetu dimburugwe ngano yetu nitunike ngoma yetu dimburugwe ngano po yakale ta kwa thero chikwana choko mongura.
Namibia Desert Diamonds CEO Alisa Amupolo says the 2022 to 2023 financial year has been a remarkable year in the history of the company and allowed it to declare the highest ever dividend of 300 million Namibian dollars by a state-owned enterprise, Ohonet Lache reports.
Thank you so much, Namibian Sun, for giving us this platform to share the remarkable journey of our outstanding year 2022-2023, where we recorded a top-line revenue of 3.1 billion and about a gross profit of 600 million. And the bottom line of that, where we declared the highest dividend in Namibia's history of 300 million, was 400 million. So in essence, we recorded a net profit of 400 million, of which out of that, 300 million went directly to the physical and by extension to the people. This is testimony to the unique value proposition of Namibia, that we can continue and well positioned to serve as a price discovery mechanism on behalf of the government and fetch premium value for Namibian diamonds, 100% unaggregated. We believe that going forward, even though the market is currently in a turmoil, there is potential for recovery towards the end of the year and early 2024, and we hope that this becomes a benchmark going forward in creating value for our economy. Thank you.
With that, we conclude our visual news segment. Now, after the break, the Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment. Do stay tuned.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with the entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
We now look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Starting off with the Namibian Sun's front page, which reports that the fate of Chinese businesswoman Huang Lingyan, whose dog killed a man at Oshakati on Sunday during a vicious attack, is in the hands of Prosecutor General Martha Imalwa, who must decide whether to prosecute her once police are done with investigations into the incident. Now, the 5 dogs attacked Ruben Abraham, a security guard who succumbed to his injuries at the Oshakati State Hospital. The next morning, they attacked another man, Simon Jaffet, who too had to receive treatment at the same hospital, although he survived the attack. On page 3, President Hage Geingob highlighted the digital divide as one of the major gaps in making access to information easier for Namibians, commemorating World Access to Information Day, which is celebrated worldwide today. He urged his government to address the digital divide urgently, with disparities persisting in various regions of the country. The president highlighted that safeguarding digital freedoms, privacy and security, including tackling issues like cyberbullying and disinformation, is crucial, adding that there is a need to strike a delicate balance between fostering open access to information and protecting the integrity of Namibia's digital environment. On the front page of the Republican, Swakop Uranium's massive Husab uranium mine is on track to produce this year's target of 4,700 tons of triuranium oxide for export, according to CEO Queen Bin, the largest single Chinese investment in Africa. Executive Vice President Erwin Simata is optimistic that this year will be the first time Swakop Uranium has made a profit since the initial drum of uranium oxide was filled in 2016. He said he expects that Husab will soon produce 5,000 tons of yellow cake a year. In doing so, it will be the second largest single source of uranium in the world. On page 3, Green Charcoal Namibia on Monday inaugurated the biggest charcoal factory in Arandes. Speaking at the event, Erongo Region Governor Neville Andre said the town is rising as a beacon of hope for the country, while the factory is set to champion greener and more eco-friendly charcoal production. He also extended a word of gratitude to the local leadership for their foresight to relentlessly search for opportunities to diversify and unlock the local economy. On its front page, the Allgemeine Zeitung highlights the 2024 Tourism Expo themed Beyond Borders, which was launched yesterday and will focus on Casa Park, where Angola, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia and Zimbabwe will jointly promote this tourism destination. The Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Bohamba Shifeta, supports this initiative and announced the winner of a diamond worth $100,000 Namibian at the opening. Minister Shifeta officially launched the expo, which will be organized by Namibia Media Holdings during April from the 24th to the 26th in 2024. Now, on page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung reports about the Namibian bus driver who was attacked and robbed by unknown persons in Johannesburg a few weeks ago. He was shot and suffered severe injuries to his eyes. In a conversation, he tells how he has been coping with being blind. He says he is thankful that he is alive and that he is still the same person, only without eyes. He added that as a man with a family depending on him, he has to move on and draw a line. Shilongo was shot through the back of his left eye, with the bullet exiting directly through the nasal bone and out the right eye. After the break, we continue with more newspaper review.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
We continue with our newspaper review. On the Namibian's front page, it reports that the Poultry Producers Association has predicted a tough 2 months as a government ban on poultry imports from South Africa kicked in with immediate effect yesterday. The neighboring country is in the midst of a major bird flu outbreak, which has since the beginning of 2023 seen in excess of 5 million commercial layer birds culled and more than 2.5 million broilers killed. The PPA yesterday said because of the threat to local operations posed by the disease outbreak in SA, it is happy the ban has been implemented. Now on page 3, the National Assembly on Monday finally passed the private members' bills introduced by SWAPO lawmaker Jerry Kanjo to define the term spouse and amend the Marriage Act of 1961 to block the recognition of same-sex marriages in Namibia, and it will now be up to President Hage Geingob to sign or reject them. Ekancho earlier this year introduced a bill on the definition of spouse, invoking Articles 81 and 4 of the Constitution to contradict a decision of Namibia's Supreme Court on same-sex marriage. He also tabled a bill to change sections of the Marriage Act, including the definitions of the term marriage and spouse. The bill further seeks to prohibit same-sex marriages and the solemnization of same-sex marriages and to block the official recognition of same-sex marriages in Namibia. The New Era's lead story reports that the Namibian newspaper has denied claims that it has become fertile ground for sexual abuse and exploitation of interns and junior reporters. The denial comes hot on the heels of revelations by the Namibia Media Professionals Union that it has been inundated with reports of sexual harassment in newsrooms, a worrying trend where interns and junior reporters are allegedly forced into sexual relationships with their bosses in exchange for permanent employment. On page 3, Oshakati police officers were left disappointed after only 2 villagers from Ngobe village in the Ovuduya constituency showed up for outreach at the councillor's office. The police drove out to the village to render services such as declarations, certifications of copies of documents, and opening of cases. Regional Operation Detective Lavinia Shilongo maintained that the villagers are sometimes intimidated by the police and hence refuse to attend anything that has to do with the police. Now on to Market Watch, which reports that on account of the Namibia Financial Institutions Supervisory Authority, a total of $5.6 million Namibian was paid to 149 complainants as of the 31st of December 2022. According to NAMPIS's annual report, the highest amount, totaling $2.6 million Namibian, was recovered from the long-term insurance industry, followed by $1.5 million from the pension fund industry, $1.2 million from the long-term insurance industry, $270,041 Namibian from the micro-lending and credit agreement industry, and $40,806 from the medical aids funds industry. Now, SA and Japan inks deal in green hydrogen push. An update on this coming up in our economic news.
Stock up and save with the best deals at WB. Get 1 litre Vita Creamy for $11.99, 2 litre Nam Milk Omaere for $44.99, 200 gram top class spice mix for $11.99. 10 kg Hotchfeld maize for $84.99, plus 2 kg surf washing powder for just $52.99. See more WB specials online at www.vurmanbrock.com. We care. We care. Vurmanbrock.
Getting into our economic news, South Africa and Japan have entered a new agreement that will see Japan helping South Africa decarbonize key industries like steel, cement, and aviation. It will also allow South Africa and Japan to work on hydrogen and ammonia projects, building critical skills. South Africa is expected to see rapid growth in these sectors as it boosts its investment in renewables in the coming years. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.35, against the euro at 20.21. 2 Namibian dollars and 63 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the NSX, Namibia breweries went down at 0.01%, while MTC went up at 0.30%. Local index closed at 0.03%, going up, while overall index closed at 0.61%, going down. Gold and Brent crude oil went down, while copper and platinum went up. Brent crude oil trading at 0.28%, going for $94.88 per barrel. Now, after this short break, we get into news from Africa.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest.
Now, Gabon's military installed Prime Minister Raymond Dongasima on Wednesday outlined plans for a national dialogue to be organized next year, which he said would pave the way for drawing up a new constitution. Now, speaking at a press conference almost a month after a coup d'etat which ousted President Ali Bongo, he said an appeal for contributions towards the dialogue would go out from next week. Dongasima said he aims to put forward a summary of these contributions by the end of January, which will provide the working basis for the national dialogue to take place hopefully between April and June. Gabon's coup leader and now transitional president, General Brice Oligui Nguema, has promised to hand back the country to civilian rule with elections after a transitional period. However, no time frame has been given. The coup brought an end to close to 60 years of control of the oil-rich Central African country by the Bongo family. We'll get into your international news shortly. Do stay tuned. Taiwan unveiled its first domestically developed submarine on Thursday, a major step in a project aimed at strengthening the island's defense and deterrence against the Chinese Navy, though it won't enter service for another 2 years. Taiwan, which China claims as its territory, has made the indigenous submarine program a key part of an ambitious project to modernize its armed forces as Beijing stages almost daily military exercises to assert its sovereignty. President Tsai Ing-wen, who initiated the plan when she took office in 2016, showed off the first of 8 new submarines on Thursday in the southern city of Kaohsiung. After this short break, we get into your sports news. To your local sports news, Uruguay beat Namibia in Lyon to record the first pool win at the Rugby World Cup and deny the African nation a first win in the competition. Brave Warriors goal poacher Elmo Kambindo is picking up form at the right time after scoring in consecutive DStv Premiership matches for his club, Chippa United. Kambindo netted the only goal of the match on Tuesday to help his team beat SuperSports United in the South African DStv Premiership. This was before his brace, which saw Chippa United beat Richards Bay 2-1 in their previous match. The Tsumeb Motor Club will host the 4th round of the National Namibian Rally Championships on Saturday with 10 special stages. The 2023 championships will be decided in just 6 competitions. We now move over to our international sports news. Morocco will host the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. The Confederation of African Football has announced a joint East African bid from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania has also won the rights to hold the 2027 tournament. Morocco replaced Guinea, who was stripped of the tournament in October last year because of concerns about infrastructure and facilities. Now, Patrick Reed has seen his $750 million defamation lawsuits against golf reporters and media outlets dismissed by a federal judge in Florida. The 2018 Masters champion was seeking damages from 18 parties, including the Golf Channel and its commentator, Brentle Chamblee. Reed's filing claimed calculated, malicious, false, and reckless attacks had cost him major damages. A Sri Lankan cricketer accused of raping a woman while in Australia for the T20 World Cup has been found not guilty. Danushka Gonthalika, 32, was accused of assaulting the Sydney woman at her home after a Tinder date in November. Now, after this short break, we get into the news highlights from today's broadcast. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Dutch stays in list A in his speech, rate in taxes, and how much.
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
Economic indicators, tomorrow's weather, and sports. I am Aina Raiza Koyam.
Let's take a look at the news highlights from today's broadcast. Gabon's military-installed Prime Minister Raymond Dong Sima on Wednesday outlined plans for a national dialogue to be organized next year, which he said will pave the way for drawing up a new constitution. Taiwan unveiled its first domestically developed submarine on Thursday, a major step in a project aimed at strengthening the island's defense and deterrence against the Chinese Navy, though it won't enter service for another 2 years. Uruguay beat Namibia in Lyon to record the first pool win at the Rugby World Cup and deny the African nation a first win in the competition. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From me, Glenora Shipura, until next time.